passage from Isaiah, the Lord declares, "My thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways." If we listen to that, and we take that to heart, we're going to see how we can apply that to Paul's letter and to Jesus' teaching in the gospel. And in that application, we're going to be invited to think outside the box. Paul, not sure what's going to happen. He's in prison. Will he die? Will he be sentenced to die? Will he live? He's not sure what awaits him. But it doesn't matter because he's okay either way. If he goes to God, he's happy. That's his choice. If he stays and he goes back out into ministry, he's there to reach out to help the people in their lives. So he's accepting and he's prepared whether he lives or whether he dies. And I think his advice to the Philippians holds true for us today. Conduct yourselves in a way that is worthy of the gospel of Christ. If we conduct ourselves in a way that is worthy of the gospel of Christ, we too will begin to establish that deep, abiding relationship in love to which God has called and invited each of us, called us by name, and invited us to that experience. When we get to the gospel passage, it does seem, well, I guess straightforward, that there's an element of unfairness in the treatment of the workers by the landowner. And of course, this argument bolsters the complaint of those first hired, mumbling and grumbling. But let's think outside the box. Let's consider this from the position of those hired at 5 o'clock. They've been standing out in the marketplace through the heat of the day, waiting and hoping to be hired. The day is almost over. How hopeful are they that this is going to take place? Probably not very hopeful. And yet, they are ready and they're prepared and they're just waiting. They didn't go home, they didn't go away, they stayed where that opportunity might avail itself. And so the landowner goes out and sees them and invites them to go and work in his vineyard. They were rewarded, if you will, because they remained attentive when hope seemed out of sight or almost gone. God is forever full of surprises. And that's part of the message today, that this surprising God of ours has so much for us that he's going to teach us not to reduce his ways to the certainty of our assumptions. We like to make plans. We'd like to have God fit into those plans. And God, think the way I do, follow what I ask, everything will be great. Doesn't happen in my life. If you're ready for the surprises that God has, then your life is going to be changed. You're going to experience conversion. You're going to know a God who is a God of love in a very special way. So God's generosity with the workers hired late certainly doesn't match up with our human experience, does it? Because we, in the world of free market capitalists, contend that long, hard work, a lot of effort, entitles people to more rewards, better wages, and benefits. And today Jesus challenges that. And it's not well received. In fact, people find it very disturbing. And so what we begin to realize is that God's generosity is unfathomable. Say that 3 times fast. Unfathomable, unfathomable, unfathomable. You got the point. God's generosity can't be touched, can't be measured. It's so great. And that generosity that is so unfathomable is always ready to be shared with us. In the eyes of God, justice is everyone being in right relationship with God. Now, what does that mean for us? What does it mean to be in right relationship with God? Well, I think we can go back to what Paul said. Continue to be faithful to living out the gospel message. That brings us into right relationship with God. Because it's all about God's generosity. It's not about our deserving more as human beings. So, in this case, God's understanding really does seem unfair, and God's not going to change. God's going to try and change the people to bring them into His understanding and take them outside the box. Not only think outside the box, but step outside the box in the way that you live and minister. So a point to be made is, I guess, even though we might not be able to comprehend God working in the world or in our lives because of doubt, confusion, pain, loss, grief, separation, the question is, do we trust that God is in control? Giving up control is very difficult for some people because they feel if they're in control, then everything will be the way they want it to be. And again, we have a surprising God. And so if you're ready to trust that God is in control, then you're going to take that posture of openness, remaining open to whatever God provides for you on your journey in faith. Whatever God offers you to the incredible, abundant graces that He pours out upon you in your life to help you through these difficult times. So remaining open is something, just as the workers who stood out there at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, hoping and waiting that someone would come and hire them. It's that same understanding and spirit of openness. And when we're willing to do that, we will find the way, and God will provide. Amen? Amen.